Hello, I'm Gareth Carroll from Beckett Financial Services, and I'm joined on the sofa today by, not the same sofa obviously, by Caroline Harper from Bupa. Now, uh, Caroline is very much on the front line. She is a mental health nurse on Bupa's mental health team. She's also done a lot of employee wellbeing in the past. And we're just going to have a quick chat this morning about some of the issues that have arisen since this whole pandemic has begun, what Caroline's seeing day to day, and how Bupa can offer support to their members. What sort of themes and issues have you seen from people contacting Bupa?
Yeah, so as you say, it's hugely increased. I think we've seen an increase in people who already struggled with the mental health, and they're maybe experiencing relapses of that. And we're also seeing calls from people who have never experienced any ill mental health before. Sleep disturbances is a big one. Increase in sort of alcohol use, and also other addictive behaviours. So sometimes that's overworking. We're missing that boundary, aren't we, of being in the office.
Is sleep is that like a side effect of everything else that's going on?
It is. So we know that, when lockdown first happened last year, our minds were very much processing a lot of information in a very short period of time. And that became evident in a lot of people's sleep. And also there was a really high increase in people reporting sort of nightmares and sleep terrors and things like that. And that's literally because your brain's processing so much information, and it continues to do that through the night. It's also about, I suppose, the feelings of claustrophobia. If everybody's in the house all the time, you're not getting that sort of thing that we previously had, where you leave the house, you come home, that's your relaxation space. If I'm now working at home in quite a stressful job, and then you're in that same place, you've not got that environmental change, have you, to try and relax for sleep time?
No, no. Quite appreciate that. It is tough all under one roof, family and working out at the same time. You spoke to me before about negative coping strategies. I know quite a few people have hit the booze.
Definitely.
And probably caffeine would be another thing, because with the sleep, people would lean on caffeine.
Definitely.
Is there anything else that people should be watching out for?
Yeah, I think food's become quite a big one, but with that becomes additional calories, and then also we're seeing much less calories burnt off compared to what we would perhaps usually do, because we're not out and about with children and things, aside from the daily walk, of course, which isn't, it wears a bit thin, doesn't it, afterwards. But I'm also seeing and hearing things from our members about addictions to certain behaviours that were initially quite positive. So things like exercise, what first became an outlet for stress and relaxation, can actually turn into a bit of an addictive behaviour. So we're seeing a real mix of those things, and obviously illicit substances as well. People going to work under the influence and working from home under the influence, and not everybody's always aware of that.
One of the main issues in the pandemic, and I know that Bupa have done some research on this, is your research is called Teen Minds Living Through the Pandemic and Beyond. So, could you talk to me a little bit about what your research has found when you've been looking at how this is affecting our teenage?
Yeah, so the Teen Minds campaign is a really important topic. It's something that I've worked on. So we've developed lots of resources for parents to be able to really provide themselves with the knowledge to be able to open conversations with teenagers. And that's because the research that Bupa undertook in the last 12 months shows that quite a high number of the teenagers we spoke to are really struggling with their mental health, particularly on lockdown. And also quite a large number of the ones that we spoke to who said they were struggling were actually turning to those unhealthy coping strategies as well. So the same as parents. And I'm sure there will be lots of different reasons for that. As we know, some things are nature, some things are nurture. But it's about supporting the teenagers in the best way that we can. Whilst they're in that period of limbo, really, they've had the structure of school removed from them. And even if there's plenty of those that don't particularly enjoy the academic side of school, they may still very much enjoy the social aspect of school, and so they're missing out on that.
Teenagers, though, in particular, they are going through a lot with the uncertainty over exams,
Definitely,
loneliness, and of course, I don't think social media is all that good for anybody. And when that's your only sort of outlet, they're probably spending more time on that, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, social media. I'm a big advocate for social media if it's used in the right way. So I follow lots of sort of positive mental health channels. Samaritans are really good on social media. They share lots of positive things. They share links to the app that they've just delivered. Mind are very good on social media. So I think it is very much about how you use it. But obviously that's for me as an adult, whereas a teenager might not be aware of that yet. And that's something that unfortunately they might learn the hard way. There's a lot of dangerous things online, isn't there, that we wouldn't want them to be seeing. But those teenage years, they're difficult anyway, aren't they? Finding yourself in the world and your identity without going through that in a very claustrophobic and closed off way, really.
Mm. Yeah. So I know that Bupa are having a big push on Teen Mind. So what sort of
Yeah.
support is available then for worried about teenagers?
Yeah, so we have the mental health support line. So that's myself and a team of mental health nurses who provide telephone support Monday to Friday around anything really. It can be about yourself as an adult, it can be about your children, it can be about loved ones, and it's all to do with mental health and well-being. And then we also have an extra arm of that now, that's the family mental health line, and that is a combination of supporting parents with what their children are doing, and sometimes it's also speaking to the children or the teenagers on the phone about what they're struggling with, and looking at individual ways to help them and making sure that they've put in touch with the right people at the right time. So some of that might be using their Bupa policy to book in some treatment face to face or remotely, as it were, in a lot of cases at the moment, which is obviously not everybody's personal preference, but it's much better than waiting and not having anything. And then the other thing is we also have a really robust website. So it's the Mental Health Hub, and again is a really good arm of that that's all about teenagers and parents. And it's got a real wealth of information and a real wealth of links to things like Shout, Mind, Samaritans, if they want to read more.
Yeah, there is an awful lot of information on there. I noticed that you've got podcasts and things on there now as well, haven't you? Sort of people stresses of parenting and work-life balance and that sort of thing. So message from today is, seek some support either online or just reach out and give you guys a call, or any of the other charities that you mentioned there, such as Samaritans and Mind.
Definitely, and keep those conversations open. It's not just a one-time thing. It's about an evolving conversation about well-being and it being okay within your household to be able to say, maybe today's not a great day or I'm struggling, and just keeping that going and getting support from the right people.